Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map. In today's video, I would like to tackle a subject of meditating with tarot cards. There are many different ways of entering a card and getting your own impressions based on that practice. And I think this is a fascinating subject, especially when you are trying to get more personal connection to tarot cards. Because I'm much more earthy and kind of shamanic wired, I love to use, for example, drum beat or pre-recorded visualization or pre-recorded music to sparkle and inspire my intuition and to go on so-called shamanic journey. I know that the word shamanic is quite problematic just because it's so widely overused and there are heaps of plastic shamans and a lot of false gurus and false teachers. But in this regard, please be aware that I'm using shamanic just as earth-centered, and I believe truly that shamanic practices were used across the globe by most of the cultures in the world. And nowadays, it's one of the direct ways when you can experience and practice and connect with various worlds and realities by means of your own imagination and your own intuition, and get direct access to certain energies that you want to connect with. So I believe this is quite a safe and wholesome and beautiful way of encountering another you, in a way, or another time and space. So I will call it shamanic card meditation or shamanic journeying with this short disclaimer. So one thing also that I want to mention, I was very inspired by, and I will link the name of the person below because right now I can't remember his name, but I was listening to one of the free tarot conferences online, and I have done this short kind of visualization shamanic trip during this conference. During the talk of that person was a man, and I think it's called he was called Reed Hart maybe, but I will link his website below. And he was doing this kind of shamanic meditation on the cards, and this is greatly influenced by his work, but also by my personal experience of shamanic journeying and working with direct revelation through those types of exercises. I also wanted to share something with you if you decide to practice this type of direct exploration of tarot cards or any other issue that you might want to explore. It's a good thing to kind of get into practice of writing it down. So it's some form of journaling. So this book, for example, and this is quite a old journey because this is from 2008. That's when I started kind of doing shamanic journeying, and this was my first power animal journey when I met my power animal. So this was quite interesting. And what I mean by practicing like that, sometimes when you finish a journey, it's like coming out of a dream. So it's really great to note down what has happened during the journey and write down as many details as you possibly can. And as much as you remember, you can also make, like little kind of drawings, or like you can just, because sometimes words are not enough, like if you, especially when you're a visual person. So like doing some form of artwork or helping yourself to remember what was happening during the journey, it's very helpful when you read about this stuff later on. And I think it's quite interesting I love doing the little drawings because that's just how I remember, and it really gives me much more of a puts me back into that when, you know, when I see a little drawing. But also writing down, you can do journeys, you know, on the full moons. This is 2012. So there is a lot of different ways you can do this. It doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, like this humongous thing. You can just do it when you want to receive certain information, when you want to reconnect deeper with your spirit, when you want to reconnect deeper with a sense of where to next, for example, and stuff like this. But also it's a great card to connect to the spirit of the tarot. And in this particular video, without further ado, I would like to just give you some tips on how you can do a journey like that. So first of all, one disclaimer, also be open to different channels of getting that information. We usually when we hear shamanic journey, we kind of see, you know, ourselves lying down, listening to the drum beat, and then there's this, you know, like a movie, all the images appearing in front of our eyes. Sometimes these expectations can block us when we don't see anything. So stay open and really receive messages or information through different channels. Work with all your senses. You might feel something in your body, in different areas of your body. You might sense, you can sense something, you can smell something, you can get a vision, you can get a message through your kind of ears. You know, you can hear things, you can hear numbers, see numbers. So be open to various channels of receiving this information. And the first short meditation you can do is a meditation that I mentioned yesterday, and it's like this breathing meditation. So what you can do before you actually get into working with a cat, just try to center yourself a little bit. Maybe meditate for 15-20 minutes. Just get yourself into the vibe and quieten down. What's really interesting and important in those types of exercises is that you don't have an overactive mind. So you can tire yourself physically. You can do a little bit of running, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of walking, and then try to sit down and just relax into being in the moment. So when you kind of feel like you okay, you at peace, you here and now, you can grab a card, a tarot card, and scan it a few times with open eyes. So you scan the card from the bottom to the top, from top to the bottom. You try to kind of remember the most of it, and then you can, with open eyes as well, start breathing. And if you saw my previous video, I was talking about breathing meditation with a plant. You can do the same with an image on the tarot card. So when you breathe out, you can imagine that this image breathes in. When the image breathes out, you breathe in. So you create like this circular motion between you and the image. And with your imagination, you can start feeling and observing, you know, just be an observer of what is happening on the card. Try to feel the heat of the sun. Try to imagine what these two people are doing. Try to look beyond that wall maybe. So start observing and feeling. This one is more to get yourself into the mood of experiencing the scene on the card. So it's just a preparation for a deeper connection to the sun card. And also when you do this type of intro meditation and preparation for work with the images, it's really important to be relaxed, you know, don't force it. Sometimes time might not be right, so don't force it. Just repeat it again and try harder in a way, you know. Don't force it. Just be relaxed and be open and see where you are. So this breathing exercise is really good to introduce you to the kind of first layer of the card. Another exercise after this one, which you can do, is the bridge exercise. So you can imagine that you are walking And here I would suggest that you play some drumming music in the background. For example, there's on YouTube for free, there's Michael Harner's Shamanic Journey, 30 minutes solo drumming. 30 minutes is more than enough. You can find probably pieces that are 15 to 20 minutes. And it's just a simple drumming. So this tends to quieten the mind and put the mind into the state of like alpha state, or maybe even if you're very sensitive, deeper into the theta state. But it helps you to stay grounded, stay on the path, and helps maybe to connect to the other realities too. So when you play this drumming music and you walk up to a bridge, and the bridge technique is one of the very old techniques. You walk up to a bridge, and beyond the bridge you see the scene of the card. So you see the scene, for example, of the Sun card, you see a scene of the Hermit card. You can pick cards without humans if it's less scary in a way. So you can see a scene of the World card or of the Sun card. It's up to you which deck you use. You can use Rider-Waite-Smith, you can use Marseille Tarot, any tarot deck will do. And beyond that bridge you see the scene. You look at the scene, you see what's beyond the bridge, and when you're ready, when you scanned the card again a few times, let's say 3 times, you close your eyes, you play the beat of the drum, and you can walk across the bridge into the scene of the card, and then you imagine again, where is this hermit going? What is he shedding his light on? Let your imagination roam free. There is no wrong answers here. You can do whatever your imagination brings you, because this is probably important for you at that particular moment. So once you cross the bridge, you enter into the landscape of a card of your choice, and you can do it with each of the tarot cards if you want, So once you're in the scene, you can introduce yourself to the person that you meet. You can ask the person for information. You can see what the person is holding the light, what are they shedding the light on, what's behind them, what's around them, what landscapes, where are they going. You can try to have a conversation with the person, and when you feel like you're ready, you got your answers, or you got your information, you got a story out of it, you thank them, and you move back across the bridge and back to ordinary reality. So going through the bridge, it's like moving from one world to the other. And very often you will find that your imagination just takes you into fascinating places. So don't get discouraged, don't get annoyed when you can't see anything. It often happens that people can't move, or they don't see anything. It's fine, just relax more, and the more you relax, the easier it will get. And also it will get easier with practice. So sometimes it takes years for people to do it, but it will take you to other worlds. And exploration of this, sometimes it might make no sense, and then you read these meditations and they make sense after a few months or after a year or something. You never know. Time is very weird concept in those shamanic realities. So for example, this shamanic journey that I did, it was so interesting because the scene that I saw, there were herbs, in this kind of guides badges. She put rosemary for memory into the fire. Her name was Lima in my trip, and she will teach me about the herbs and tarot. And if you watched my IG recently or my even previous video, the herbal tarot just popped into my consciousness. I've had this deck forever. I love herbs. I come back and forth with herbs. I studied a little bit with Susan Weed. I put it aside, then my love for herbs comes and calls again. So I'm practicing herbalist in the sense, not herbalist as people come to me for advice, but I don't go to doctors, thank God, not yet. I heal myself with the help of the herbs. So in this case, I said I'm practicing herbalist. I collect a lot of my own herbs, and I'm fascinated with it. So when I read it now, what I wrote then, I thought like, oh, that's interesting. It's like the time has come, and then me wanting to make this video for you also for you to experience your personal connections to those archetypes, to the imagery, to your own kind of higher self that wants to speak through symbols, through attributes, through different, pictures. It's very cool. So these two meditations, the breathing one, the bridge meditation, when you walk across into the reality of the card and the picture on the card, and explore it with maybe the help of the person on the card. Thank them for it, come back. Always remember to thank the person or the guides you meet during your explorations, and remember to come back to the ordinary reality. This man, Hart Reed, or Reed Hart, as I said before, I will link his website below. He said he was introducing a meditation when you can meet your tarot guide. And that was quite interesting because it's quite a complex meditation, maybe for beginners, because you go into the underworld. So first of all, you can experience a little bit maybe shamanic journey, like plain shamanic journey. Maybe first of the meditations you can do, of the journeys that you can do, is to go into the underworld to meet your power animal. This is quite an interesting one, and you might know kind of that you have one power animal, that it's always there and it's there to help you and to guide you. And when I started in 2008, I have met my power animal, that it's always with me. But sometimes you can meet different animal spirits that are around, and they help us to help you, to guide you through, to lead you to places, like in this next meditation that I'm just describing. So when you go into the underworld, you play the music and you imagine walking or running, going, for example, into the hole in the ground, climbing down the tree roots into the underworld, or you can go through the tunnel down into the underworld. So you're going down, and when you get down, you go to the left and you try to see if you can meet an animal spirit, if any animal is kind of wanting to show itself for you. And then you can ask the animal to show you around, the underworld. Just treat it as an adventure. Don't treat it with fear. Don't treat it with some kind of strict rules. Just let yourself go with it. It's very personal, and that's what I like about shamanistic and shamanic experiences. They direct revelation for you and you only. There is no good, bad. So when you meet your animal spirit, you can come back up, and when you want to meet tarot spirit guide, you start like this. You go down into the underworld, you meet an animal guide. When you go down, you go to the left, you meet the animal guide. It might be the same guide that works with you, or it might be a new guide that wants to show you the tarot spirit right now. So when you meet the guide from where your power animal met you, ask the power animal to take you to an appropriate place to meet your tarot guide. So you go to the right. So first you went to the left to meet your animal spirit, and then together you go towards the right. And here you wait for a human guide to appear. They will appear on the right. So you will get impressions of the guide. And here there's one disclaimer: if this is a god, image, or goddess, or a famous guru, this is not your guide. That has to be somebody who's dead, who died before you were born. So it can be some ancestral spirit. It can be somebody who was living before you were born. And when you meet that person, you get impressions of them, you scan them from the feet up, and sometimes their face might not be sharp, it might be blurry. So that's okay. You don't have to know straight away everything, every little detail about them. But what's important, and here that's how the kind of universal law of power in a way works. You can ask them, they kind of cannot lie to you. You can ask them and be clear, and you can ask them, are you my true guide? And if they have, you can ask them, are you my true guide, and do you have power to protect me in the other world? And if they say yes, that's a good sign. If they answer no, or if they don't answer, or if they disappear, or something like change shape, or whatever happens, they're not your true guide. So you still keep looking to the right. Maybe another guide will appear, and keep repeating the same procedure. So when they say yes, that they are your true guide, you take your guide hand, you take your hand, their hand, and you supposed to be feeling acceptance, love. They meant to be a positive, loving, kind, accepting energy. So they caring towards you, and you will feel that. So if you don't feel it, or if they refuse walking, to continue to walk with you, hold your hand, or you feel like weird energy, just keep looking to the right for the next true guide to appear. And when you find the appropriate guide in the end, stand side by side with them. Your right hand should be in their left hand, and you can ask them to show you the sun in the other world. So you ask them, please, can you show me the sun in this world? And if they refuse, disappear, or they don't know where the sun is, or something kind of off is happening, again, keep looking to the right for another guide, which is your true guide. But if they show you the point towards the sun, you call the sun down in a way. You call the spirit of the sun down. And the spirit can appear in the human form, it can appear in any form. What's important, you ask the sun for the power and for the light on this journey. Like the sun is kind of shedding the light on you, so you stay open to receive that light of the sun, to receive the love and the power from the sun. And hopefully, when you receive some power from the sun, and you connect with the guide that you're holding the left hand of, this is going to be quite an empowering moment. And if you haven't met the guide, if it's, it was feeling like it's not the right person, that's okay. You just keep trying, you repeat the journey till you find a loving, kind, compassionate guide to help you. So you're thanking the sun for the energy that's it's given to you, and you can talk to your guide and ask the guide for a name, or for a sign or a color, like how you should call him, how can you communicate with him. And you can ask your guide to give you a sign, or give you a message, or give you a gift. And then you thank the guide and ask them that next time, if you would like to communicate with them, or if they would like to communicate with you, you will meet them at the steps at the bridge to enter another another card image, or another time you want to venture into the other world, you ask your guide to be with you, and that you would love to work with this guide. And you thank your guide. You can ask your guide to meet you when you will be practicing those type of meditations, and if you want to, for example, explore a scene in the cards, you can ask your guide to meet you at the bridge, or you can ask your guide to be with you anytime you will need their help or support, or just presence when you're going to go on explorations into the other worlds. So then the drumming continues, you thank the guide, and your spirit animal takes you back to that spot where you met first time, and you can climb up the ladder to return to the ordinary reality. You can climb up the tree, or invent any other way. Maybe your spirit animal can lift you up, or if it's a bird, who knows. Just you come up to the middle world from the underworld, and you continue to integrate all the visuals, all the messages, all the feelings that you've gotten during the journey. And this is quite a beautiful way to encounter, first of all, various meanings of the cards, various interpretations of the cards, what a card means for you right now in this particular moment that can change. And that's what's wonderful about the archetypal reality, that the archetypes have influence on our lives in a very personal way. And by connecting with your spirit tarot guide each time you work with card meditations or shamanic meditations with the cards, you will strengthen, the connection. It's like building up friendship, and you can start writing down all the all the informations and all the journeys that you will be doing. And this is a fascinating kind of collection of wisdom from your own personal experience and psyche. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope I'm going to link some of the drumming music in the description box below. I'm going to link the name of the man whom I found this meditation on Spirit Guide through, and I encourage you to practice and to maybe expanding and incorporating various other methods of personal and direct experience of the tarot cards, because it's quite a fascinating subject to explore. So enjoy it, and I speak to you soon. Bye.